thought that you had a really good idea, right? You went over every single nuance of that plan before you took action. And you took action certain that that action that you took was going to bring precisely the result that you needed. Only thing is, it didn't. But you know something? Sometimes the best plans are not plans that you develop or strategize or use your active mind in order to create. Sometimes better plans are plans that just simply come to you, or that your awareness becomes more open to, or that your awareness becomes more open to and you work with it in order to create something, well, that's more in alignment with the natural flow of a situation. So what went wrong? Well, you likely found yourself in a position where things weren't working out, right? So then when things don't work out, you figure, well, sure, it's disappointing. All right, maybe it's more than disappointing. Maybe I'm really irritated. Maybe I'm really angry. Maybe I'm really frustrated because, hey, I can't accept no for an answer. But guess what? No is the answer that you're looking at least for now. So if you're not willing to accept no for an answer, then you're likely gonna keep getting no for an answer, if you know what I mean, right? So what you did is you decided, I'm just gonna take this frustration and I'm gonna put it to one side, right? And I'm gonna proceed with a newly strategized plan. But what makes you think that's going to work any better than another one, right? And if you could use a little bit of help opening your eyes to the plan that perhaps you should be paying attention to, I should mention that I do offer several different levels of astrological service. These are available through my astrological services page, which is linked above. And that's right. That's what I'm saying. You need to open your awareness to an idea rather than trying to actively create one, right? And if you need to actively get actively involved with the concept that just naturally comes to you rather than one that you necessarily feel you have to brainstorm. Where you made the wrong choice is by deciding that you are going to take all that anger and frustration and put it to the side. Now, I'm not saying you should be angry. I'm not saying you should be frustrated. And I'm definitely not saying that you should take that anger and that frustration and direct it at something or even someone. But perhaps acknowledging at the very least that you have that anger and acknowledging at the very least that you have that frustration will actually place you in a pretty good position, because at the very least, it's going to allow you to move that anger and to move that frustration as long as you pay attention to what it is that you're actually frustrated about and what it is that you're actually angry about, and actually recognize that it may not be quite as much about not getting that result that you desired, but it might be much more about something else that was underlying the fact that you weren't getting that result that you desired. And the moment that you move through that energy, that's the moment that your ego moves out of the way. The moment your ego moves out of the way, you're going to recognize that there was an option and an opportunity on the table for you already. You had turned your back on it, you had turned your nose up at it, and you just completely ignored that it was there. Now, at the time of the full moon, now, obviously, as I'm sure most of you know, a full moon is when the sun is opposing the moon, right? So the sun is going to be in Dhanishtha Nakshatra at the time of the full moon, whilst the moon is in Magha Nakshatra. You can really learn a lot about the Nakshatras if you learn about the body parts, believe it or not, that are connected to the Nakshatras. Magha is connected to the nose, right? The sun is connected, Dhanishtha, I should say, is connected to the back. Now, both of those particular factors are kind of awakening and pointing your attention to the fact that you might be being a little haughty about a situation, or that you might not be paying attention to something that was already there. And these two planets, or I should say the moon rather, is being influenced by Jupiter and Saturn, which are across the spectrum of the horoscope in Uttada Ashada Nakshatra, which is connected to the thighs. Now, what do the thighs do? The thighs continue to move us forward in the most difficult and trying circumstances. But when the thighs are not receiving the best of direction, when instead they're getting direction from a nose that is turned up and a back that is turned away, how can we ever expect those thighs to carry us in the right direction? So what do you need to do? You need to pay attention. And how do you need to pay attention? Well, you need to pay attention in a very Magha-oriented way. Magha has a tendency quite often to cause us to, want to put something to one side. And for lack of a better way to put it, to just kind of soldier onward, thinking that we have the best answer to a perplexing situation. But one of the lessons with Magha Nakshatra is to be able to tune in, to listen, to pay attention. Don't turn your back. Instead, open your eyes. Take a look. Be more aware. Don't be afraid of that vulnerability. Don't even be afraid of that, humility, right? Because that humility and that vulnerability are the two things that are going to open your eyes further to that solution, which I was mentioning is already there. Cooperation, not conquest, should be your aspiration. I wanted to mention to everybody that the Pulse of the Universe Academy of Vedic Astrology is now up and running with both certification and non-certification options for those of you who are interested in registering and learning astrology through the Academy. That's going to do it for this look at the full moon in Magha Nakshatra, which takes place on the 9th of February, 2020. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.